If you haven't seen the other videos, there's two of them. Two of them? Yeah, there's two. So part one is a part two. This is part three. This is going to be interesting because, well, in some ways you feel like this shouldn't matter. Apparently, for some strange reason, there's a tolerance difference. And it may be the shim that's used. I'm going to have to find my calipers. I'm actually going to have to find my calipers. Let me show you something. So I'm working on a conversion, which is a brushless conversion of my Rlaarlo buggy, right? This is the upgraded diff. This is an original diff. This is an original diff. This is supposed to be an upgraded ring gear, okay? This is the gear that came out of, I'm almost lost now, but I'm pretty sure that's that. This is an upgraded differential, complete, that I never took apart. Well, I did take it apart to inspect it. This is a different looking animal. You see how there's like a slight color difference? This one to this one? Well, because I took the ring gear, and just by chance, when I came out here, look at the fluidity. I think there was a shim issue. Look at the fluidity. Oops. Look at the fluidity right now. Look at that. You can hear the gears just because there's no fluid in there, but we're getting no binding now. So what was it? Is it literally the shim that was used? Because this is the shim that was with this gear. Is potentially the shim that they were using, is it too thick? Feel like I don't want to measure the shim, but I probably should. But this is the semi-used gear, which it kind of isn't. Thing looks mint. It actually looks brand new, which is crazy because I've got a few battery packs through this truck. And this is the brand new gear. So, I don't know what to say, man. That is odd. So probably what I should do is at least measure this shim because it seemed like that made a difference. So I have to go and see if I can find my caliper. So I'll be back. Intermission time. Just kidding. Alright, so I am back. Did find my caliper. So this is the shim potentially that could be causing my problems because like I said, once I put this together with this ring gear, all seemed like it was fine. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this back apart. See what's going on here. See if for some strange reason, if it's the tolerance of potentially this gear, or if it was the shim, because it is definitely not binding now. And I did double check. I did even double check the get that magnet out of there. I did double check to make sure that the crossbars in the gears weren't misaligned. Okay. It's always one screw. Still hanging on by a thread. That screw should be, I was going to say, that screw should be out. Alright, set that aside. That's the shim potentially that's causing an issue. So now, take this out. It's crazy that it's taken this much to figure this out. Oh, look at that. Shim is on that side. Alright. There's the shim that potentially isn't causing the issue. So I'm going to clean this one. This one I think is already clean. Yeah. So that might be too thick. And that might be just right. Alright, so here's my digital caliper. Zero it out. I'm going to go ahead and go after the shim that might be too thick. It's coming in at 0.25. And maybe the shim that might be just right, or it's the ring gear. Look at that. 0.19. That is the difference right there. It's crazy when you think about it. It's crazy when you think about it that obviously, like, you gotta think of scale. Go ahead and get yourself one of these, and also get yourself a fire stick. Get you one of these. Actually, get both, because I can tell you sometimes this has really come in handy over this one. So get yourself one of those fire sticks. So that's goes to show you that different tolerances make all the difference. So that technically means I can go ahead and reuse this gear. Like, I mean, I was just putting stuff together, trying to figure it out, going, man. So it's literally the shim. That's a big difference. That is a size difference right there. That made it so that one diff was usable over another. Point whatever it was, 0.9 to 0.2 to 0.25 to 0.9, 0.19. That made all the difference. So I'm gonna go ahead and reinstall this and get this thing going. That was actually good to see. So that's the thick shim. This is the thin one. So that thin shim is gonna go on this. So I can go ahead and use things how they're supposed to be used now. Boy, that's crazy. Uh-oh. Oh no. Which one was it? Crap. It fell off and I didn't see which way it went. 0.19, 0.24, 0.25. So this is the one I want. And that technically means, well, no, actually the gear was a little different, so I'm gonna go ahead and still retain using either the better gear or the better screw. It's a shame though. So now when I put this thing back together, it should be mint. Be careful torquing this down, man. Came across that issue already. So I'm gonna just dry fit it again, just to make sure. Should only have to do 2 screws. So I'll do one on one side and one on the other side. That should be fine. I'm not gonna do all 4 like I did the last time. Doesn't make any sense for this particular situation. Yeah, look at that. You can hear it, but this one, that shim definitely made all the difference. If anything, I wonder if the other shim on this side could potentially make it even more freer, but let's see if I can. I feel a slight amount of little slop. But I almost feel as though if I somehow grab the other shim, you know what, this is becoming too much. For this little car, this is becoming too much, man. I'm gonna go ahead and put some fluid in here. So it looks like we're in good shape. I'm gonna go ahead and get I'm gonna get some diff fluid and put some diff fluid in here. So I'll be back. And we are back. So I do have some, so we got 10K. We've got 30K, which 30K it looks like I'm gonna go with, I believe. We have 50K, which I feel is gonna be too much. Man, I don't know. I think I'm gonna go ahead, because this is a small little RC, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go with the I'm just gonna go with the 30. Now again, the reason why they probably didn't do that and they used the grease is because this is not sealed. But if the tolerances are good on this thing, which we kind of realized that the shims weren't, but if the tolerances are okay, it shouldn't bleed fluid, but we'll see. Even if it does, it's not a big deal, kind of let this, you can see, at least I can see the bubbles trying to come up. So it's going to take an exceptionally long time to let this settle by itself. So I'm going to go ahead and just slap this together. It actually looks like it's settling right now. This way. So this one is going to be for the rear. Make sure I give this just a little tweak all the way around so it doesn't blow apart. God, I'm so scared, man. Snapping that one screw, as easy as it snapped, man, is making me scared here. Ooh, that was the right fluid. That gave it some niceness to it, man. Look at that. That actually feels good too. All right, so that worked out perfect. Okay, so that diff is all set. This one, I'm just gonna crack this and throw, I think, just some lube in there. Always, it's always one. Come on. Last time it was that one too. See what I'm saying? There's grease in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the 10K. Put a little bit of 10K in there. Leave the grease that's in there. Just put in some 10K, overlay it. Just like that. Good enough. Just so that this got some, whoa. It's gone forever. Just so it's gonna have some lubrication. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't fill it. I just gave it some fluid. Better than nothing in there. Ugh. My God. All right. I feel so hesitant on stripping this out because we're working with cheap aluminum, you know, upgrades. Ah, feels mint. Okay, I think that's gonna be good. That's got a good feeling to it, and that definitely's got a thicker, nice, smooth feeling to it. So it's probably gonna be too much, but rear diff, front diff, we're good. We can go ahead and get rid of this garbage, obviously, except for this, which that's, yeah, we don't even need that. So, oh, look what I did. Look what I did. No. Oh, and that's the rear too. Look. I'll be back. And then, like magic, 20 minutes later, it's back together. All right, so we're good here. Gonna go ahead and get rid of this for now. So now, where do I go from here? So I know I said that I wanted to kind of weigh out the vehicles. With that diff issue, kind of almost took the steam out of me, man. I'm gonna have to say the majority of the weight was probably in that, because it feels light now. Majority of the weight was in that motor. So I think instead of swapping out the carbon fiber chassis, going that whole craziness route, I think I'm just going to kind of switch gears right now and now just go ahead and go with reinstalling the new drive shaft with the two pinion gears on each side, reinstall the motor, or install the brushless motor with the heatsink, which the heatsink is from the other car. Kind of weird, huh? It's from the other car. And I mean the DRC. So that's a DRC heatsink. I think on Rlaarlo, I think there's heat sinks, but if you can't find one, DRC is where you can get it. You can get it other places too. So yeah, I think the chunkiness was probably that motor. So let's go ahead and see if we come across any issues with installing. Get these differentials in here. Realize that I did have one screw missing for this standoff. So I've got to find a screw to go ahead and fit that standoff, which is going to be, I think, a regular size screw. I'm going to have to match up the screw that's on the other standoff, and I might have to steal a screw from the other vehicle if I don't have the correct size screw. So that's the other issue is, you know, when you're working with small scale like this, is that potential of not having the small scale screws that you need to work on these things. So let's just continue here. So I'm going to retain the aluminum chassis. I've kind of made that executive decision here. Kind of made the executive decision to go ahead and retain the aluminum chassis. So what I will do is I will go ahead and drop this gear into place. So these bearings need to be slid up there. So one bearing goes there, one bearing goes to the back, or to the front actually. So that is going to drop in like that. Oh, I need the motor mount in place. Never mind. So we have to install the brushless motor. So that's going to be easy. This is going to install like that. Oh! See, I told you. You'll see all the stuff. Oh my god. More screws are falling out. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little dab of thread lock on each. And I'm going to put it right in through the chassis. And I'm going to put a dab of thread lock right on the chassis. So I needed to make sure I grabbed the correct screws. This is where I may end up with a problem and possibly needing to steal screws from the other thing, the other car. So go ahead and throw some thread lock on there. Now this is the screw that was loose. So let's give it a crank. That felt good. Give this one a crank. And that felt good. So I do need to steal potentially a screw. Not potentially, I do have to steal a screw from that other side. Boy, this looks like a disaster, huh? Alright, so now I can go ahead and dump in the gear, drive shaft, deal, while making sure things go into place. These gears, these bearings, go into their respective slots. Same thing with that one. See how there's a separation. The mesh is perfect between it. So now differential. This is where it becomes very easy because of the way they do this. There's no messing it up. There's a little notch there and a little notch on the opposite side. So you cannot mess up putting in the diff. Now I want to make sure I choose the right diff. Feeling how free this one is, I know this one's for the front. So I'm going to go ahead and install this one right into the front. This way. That feels pretty good. This one's for the back. It's going to get installed just like that. And I do not like that play. Ooh, I don't like that play. Look at that. That's a lot of play. The front's got nothing. But the back, that's a ton. Let's give it a spin. Oh, that's a ton, man. Look at that. Huh. Look at that. Oh, you know what? Look at this. Never mind. Oh, that front one's not too bad. So, that's massive. Look how much that slides. Does that mean that these diff bearings are different? No, they look the same. Oh man. Just another little issue. See, that's not good, man. That's a massive amount of play. At least I feel it is. So if that diff is all the way there, which is how it's going to happen, that's huge. Look at this. That's massive. So what I need to do, sadly, I need to shim this. Kind of almost feel like I want to shim the bearing out. If I do that, what it's gonna do two things. It's gonna push. See, and the reason why I say the bearing is because I don't know. Ah, man. And this is one of those ones that's kind of a pain. If I had a shim that would go over this, I could shim the case. You know what I'm saying? I know this isn't performance, but the thing is it's almost as if you could potentially get performance out of it. Look at that. I don't know if you can see that on camera. That's a huge amount of play. It's not as much in the front. I just want to take some of that slop out. Alright, so I gotta go ahead and see if I can find shims. I think I do have some Losi shims. It's just the problem is... I have a feeling that the shim is wider than the cup. I mean, the cup is wider than the shim. Oh, what a pain this is, man.